There are moments in life when silence wraps itself around you like a thick fog. Friends grow distant. Conversations grow thinner. The phone stops ringing. And suddenly, you find yourself alone in a house that once echoed with laughter and the rhythm of life. If you're here now, feeling that loneliness in your bones, let me say this: you are not forgotten. Your loneliness is not an accident. You are being separated for a reason. This isolation you feel, it didn't come to punish you. It came to purify you. When everything quiets down, when the distractions fade, the obligations fall away, and even the people disappear, what's left is you. Your breath. Your heartbeat. The whisper of something divine stirring deep within your soul. God doesn't always speak in the chaos. Often, His voice is too soft to be heard in the noise. So, He separates you. Not out of cruelty, but out of love. Because sometimes, the only way to bring you back to yourself is to pull you away from everything and everyone who ever told you who you were supposed to be. This isn't emptiness. This is a sacred pause. Welcome to Zen Companion, where spiritual alignment attracts your ultimate abundance. Before we continue this journey inward, I invite you to take a moment to anchor this experience. If this message has already begun to stir something within you, a quiet recognition, a flicker of truth, then let's deepen that connection together. Please, like this video as a small act of presence, a way of affirming your commitment to your own path of awakening. Subscribing to this channel is not just about staying connected, it's about building a sacred space where we return, again and again, to the stillness that heals and the wisdom that guides. In the spirit of mindful solitude, I'd love for you to share your energy with us in the comments by writing the mantra, "I am whole in my aloneness." Let this be your declaration, not of loneliness, but of sovereign presence. This simple sentence holds deep power. It is a reminder that your solitude is not emptiness, but a sanctuary of becoming. By writing it, you claim the space within you that needs no external validation, no constant noise, only breath, clarity, and rootedness. And finally, if this message touches a quiet chord within you, chances are it will do the same for someone else. Share this video with those who may be silently longing for this kind of resonance: a friend, a sister, a soul navigating their own sacred silence. Together, we can build a circle of gentle reminders, soul to soul, that we are never truly alone in our solitude. Thank you for being here. Let's keep walking, one breath, one truth, one light at a time. Imagine this, a seed resting in the deep, quiet soil, hidden beneath layers of earth, far from the warmth of sunlight and the gaze of the world. It is not lost. It is not dead. Though unseen, it holds a secret, a quiet knowing that this darkness is not the end, but the beginning. It is here, in the hush of the earth, where the miracle begins to unfold. The seed must surrender to the stillness. It must soften, crack open, and allow the transformation to begin from within. In that silent breaking, something ancient stirs. Not loudly, not all at once, but gently, as if whispered by the breath of time itself. Roots begin to stretch downward, seeking hidden waters. Tender shoots awaken, inching toward a future they cannot yet see. It is a sacred process, born not of haste or certainty, but of quiet trust. And so it is with this moment now. This stillness that surrounds you, it may feel empty, but it is full of unseen grace. Life has called you inward, away from the noise, away from the roles once carried so faithfully. Not to punish, but to prepare, to nourish, to renew. Just as the earth holds the seed in silent devotion, so too are you being held, in sacred waiting, in holy becoming. The world may not see this transformation. There may be no applause, no recognition, but something is stirring. Beneath the surface, deep in the soil of your being, you are shedding what no longer serves. Letting go of old stories, old expectations, old griefs carried too long. This release is not weakness, it is wisdom. A wisdom earned through seasons weathered with quiet strength and gentle endurance. There is no rush here. No need to bloom before it is time. The darkness is not a punishment, but a pause, a fertile space where your spirit begins to listen more deeply, more tenderly, to its own voice. In that voice is a longing not to impress, but to belong. Not to strive, but to be. And in being, to begin again, more whole, more honest, more deeply rooted in truth. What emerges from this soil will not be the same as what was planted. It will carry the memory of the darkness and the wisdom it offered. It will carry the strength born from surrender and the clarity that only quiet can bring. And when the moment comes to rise, and it will be with grace, not grasping. With presence, not performance. Prepared to heal. Prepared to remember. Prepared to grow into the great person you were always meant to become. It's in this quiet space, unseen, unmeasured, unjudged, that something deep within begins to soften. No longer required to meet the expectations of others, no longer shaped by the demands of roles once held with devotion, the soul begins to breathe. Not a shallow breath, but a full, unburdened exhale. The kind that only comes after years of carrying what was never fully named. It sighs out the effort of being everything to everyone. It sheds the weight of the masks that smiled through sorrow and stayed silent through longing. And in that stillness, something sacred stirs. A gentle unraveling of what was never truly yours. The old stories begin to fade, like fog lifting in morning light. The need to prove, to please, to perform, it quiets. Not because it was wrong, but because it is no longer needed. In the absence of all that noise, what remains is something raw and honest, a heart whispering its way back to itself. The questions rise, not with fear, but with reverence. Who am I without them? Without the roles, the responsibilities, the expectations? Who was I before the world told me who to be, before the rhythm of others drowned out the sound of my own heartbeat? What does my soul want now, in this chapter that unfolds slowly, like the petals of a flower long held in bud? These questions don't demand quick answers. They are invitations, tender openings into deeper knowing. They come not to disrupt, but to awaken, to lead inward, where the truth has always waited, patient and quiet beneath layers of doing. There is grace in allowing them to echo, to linger, to shape the silence with their presence. And in that presence, the soul remembers something essential, that it was never meant to disappear in service to others. That there is life still blooming within, even now. Especially now. This solitude is the invitation to finally listen. And yes, it hurts. Deeply, quietly, sometimes in ways that words cannot quite reach. There is a tender ache that comes when familiar roles dissolve, when the identity wrapped in motherhood, partnership, labor, or care slowly slips away like the tide retreating from the shore. What remains in that stillness can feel unfamiliar, even unsettling, as if meeting a reflection you haven't truly seen in years. But this presence, this being who stands in the space once filled by responsibilities and labels, is not a stranger. She is not lost. She has simply been waiting, patiently, lovingly, beneath the layers. Beneath the gestures, the schedules, the service, she has always been there. Watching. Enduring. Hoping for a moment when the noise would soften enough for her voice to be heard again. Now, in this space that feels both empty and sacred, she begins to emerge. Not with certainty, but with grace. There is no need to rush her return. There is a beauty in her slow unveiling, in the gentle remembering of what it means to be whole, not because of what is done for others, but because of what quietly exists within. She carries stories that were never told, dreams tucked away for later, wisdom earned through silence and surrender. And though she may seem unfamiliar at first, there is comfort in her presence, a familiarity not born of habit, but of truth. This is the self who existed before the world asked her to be many things. The one who loved without measure, who held others through their storms, and who now deserves her own tender embrace. In time, the ache becomes something else. A doorway, a soft awakening, a path toward rediscovery. And what once felt like loss begins to feel like return. A return not to what was, but to what has always quietly waited beneath it all. Loneliness is not your enemy. It is your midwife. It is delivering you back to your sacred self. There is a reason the prophets, the saints, and the sages all journeyed into the wilderness. Their retreat was never an act of fleeing, but a sacred pilgrimage, a purposeful stepping away from the noise and distraction of the world, to find a clearer, more intimate meeting with the divine. In the stillness of the wild, they listened deeply, beyond the clamor of daily life, until the quiet spoke with undeniable clarity. It was there, in that vast openness, that truth was revealed, not as a distant ideal, but as a living presence. This season of solitude and quiet is not unfamiliar. It is a wilderness of a different kind, but it holds the same invitation. There is no punishment in this calling, no shadow cast by judgment. Rather, it is a gentle summons to step into the space where masks fall away and pretense dissolves. A call to remember what has been hidden beneath years of labor, roles, and expectations. Here, in the heart of this solitude, the truth begins to rise like the dawn. Worth is never measured by productivity, by the tasks accomplished, or by the approval earned. Worth exists quietly, simply, as an unshakable foundation. It is not tied to usefulness or to how much is given away. It is an inherent radiant light that glows from within, steady and unwavering, regardless of circumstance. In this wilderness, there is a chance to reconnect with that light, to honor the soul's deep longing not for more to do, but for more to be. This is a place where surrender is strength, where silence becomes a language, and where the deepest presence is found, not in achievement, but in being fully, beautifully alive. That your beauty was never measured by youth. That your voice still matters, even if no one claps when you speak. Some of the most profound healing unfolds within the embrace of silence. It is in this quiet that the body, long carrying unseen burdens, gently recalls the places where old wounds once settled, layers of pain folded into muscle and bone, hidden beneath the surface. Without the distractions of noise or urgency, these aches can finally come into the light, invited to loosen their grip, to soften, to let go. Healing does not rush here. It moves with the tender patience of a whispered prayer, allowing what has been held for so long to find release. Within this sacred stillness, the spirit begins its quiet work. It takes the stories passed down through time, stories shaped by struggle, by sacrifice, by survival, and gently begins to rewrite them. Not to erase what came before, but to transform it, to weave threads of understanding, forgiveness, and hope into the fabric of the soul's narrative. This rewriting is a sacred act of reclaiming, a reclaiming of truth that has been obscured or forgotten beneath the weight of old patterns and inherited burdens. And in this space, the heart begins to shift its rhythm. It learns to beat not in response to the needs or expectations of others, but for itself, for its own steady, nurturing life. The pulse becomes a quiet song of self-care, of recognition, of love that is no longer conditional or deferred. Here in the depths of silence, a new kind of courage takes root, the courage to honor one's own presence, to nurture one's own light, and to move gently forward, one breath at a time. Do you feel that ache in your chest? It is not a sign of weakness, but rather a sacred stirring, an ancient grief gently rising from deep within. This is a sorrow that has traveled through generations, carried quietly and often unseen. It may be the grief your mother never found the space to express, held back by the demands and hardships of her own life. Perhaps it is the sorrow your grandmother tucked away so deeply that even she lost sight of its presence, burying it beneath layers of endurance and silence. This grief is like a hidden river flowing beneath the surface, shaping the landscape of the heart in ways often unspoken. It is both heavy and tender, a quiet inheritance that asks not for judgment, but for recognition and compassion. It moves through the body in waves, calling for acknowledgement, for gentle tending, for the grace of being felt without fear or dismissal. Allowing this grief to rise does not mean surrendering to pain, but rather inviting healing to begin. It is a profound act of courage to meet this quiet ache with kindness, to hold it gently instead of pushing it away. In doing so, there is the possibility for a deeper freedom, a letting go of what has been carried too long, making space for peace to take root where sorrow once lived. This is the beginning of a journey back to wholeness, where the heart can breathe again, light and unburdened. You are feeling what they couldn't. You are breaking what they didn't. That is not loneliness, that is legacy. You were chosen to stop the pattern. You were chosen to heal the line. This pain you carry is never meant to be borne alone. It flows beyond the bounds of a single life, weaving through the tapestry of generations, connecting past, present, and future in a silent, enduring thread. Because it is shared, the healing that begins here is not confined to one heart or one story. It moves outward, gently touching the lives of those who walked before, whose struggles and sacrifices have shaped the path you now walk. And it reaches forward too, carrying hope and strength to the women who will come after, those whose footsteps will follow in the spaces you begin to clear. The peace you uncover is like a quiet stream, widening as it flows, nourishing the roots of many lives. It transforms the weight of sorrow into a legacy of resilience, a gift passed tenderly from one soul to another. This is the sacred cycle of healing and grace, an unfolding that honors the depth of pain and the vastness of love that holds it. When peace is found, it does not simply settle in one place. It becomes a gentle ripple, a subtle light that moves through time and memory, reminding all who feel its touch that they are never truly alone. That's why you're alone right now. Because the work you are doing, the inner alchemy, the breaking and the becoming, requires silence, requires sacred solitude. But this season won't last forever. Like the seed, you will not stay buried. One day soon, a gentle unfolding will begin within, and you will start to rise, like the first soft light of dawn breaking through a long night. This rising is quiet and steady, not rushed or forced, but a natural awakening that flows from the depths of your being. It is a return to your true self, shedding the layers worn for protection or acceptance, revealing the essence that has patiently waited beneath. As this light grows, those who are truly meant to walk beside you will come into view, not the ones who once accepted a version of you hidden behind masks, but those who see you fully and deeply. They will recognize the soul that shines quietly, without needing to prove itself or hide its truth. These connections will be rooted in authenticity, where acceptance is unconditional and companionship is born from genuine understanding. This is a meeting of hearts, not just of faces, a coming together that honors the whole story, the unseen struggles, and the silent strength that has carried you here. When this time arrives, it will feel like a homecoming, a gathering where the soul is known and cherished simply for being. And in that recognition, there will be a profound peace, a knowing that you have found your place to belong, exactly as you are. These sacred friendships will not demand you shrink. They will not ask you to dim your light. They will sit with you in the quiet. They will honor your journey. They will speak a language your heart remembers. But you must walk through this valley first. Not around it. Not above it. Through it. You must let yourself feel. Grieve. Shed. You must let yourself sit in the silence long enough for the old voices to fade, and for the voice of the divine to grow clear. And it will. It may come as a thought you didn't expect. A memory that returns soft and glowing. A sudden peace in the middle of tears. That is not your imagination. That is your soul coming home. Rumi reminded us, the wound is the place where the light enters you. This simple yet profound truth invites a gentle shift in how pain and hardship are seen. Rather than something to hide from or fear, wounds become openings, portals through which healing and illumination can flow. It is in those very places of vulnerability that light finds its way in, bringing clarity, compassion, and transformation. When life leaves marks on the heart or spirit, it might feel as though darkness has taken hold. Yet within that space, a subtle invitation is extended, to allow light to enter, to let it soften and mend what was broken. This process is neither quick nor easy, but it is deeply sacred. Through embracing our wounds, there emerges a newfound strength, one that is born not from perfection, but from the courage to be real, to be tender and to grow. In this way, the wounds do not define us by their pain, but rather by the light they allow us to receive. They become reminders that even in our most difficult moments, there is a source of healing waiting to illuminate the path forward. It is a call to welcome the light, to trust in its gentle power, and to step into the fullness of being that comes from embracing every part of our journey. Clearing the way for joy. Clearing the way for real connection. Clearing the way for the woman you are now ready to become. So yes, you are alone. But you are not abandoned. You are separated. But you are not forgotten. You are quieted. But you are not silenced. You are becoming. And this becoming is holy. Let it happen. Let it hurt. Let it heal. Because the love that is unfolding, the gentle peace that settles deep within, the clarity that softly illuminates the path ahead, the sacred friendships that nourish the soul, comes in its own perfect time. It is not something to be hurried or forced, but a quiet unfolding that honors the pace of the heart's readiness. This kind of love moves with patience and grace, arriving not according to the demands of the world, but in harmony with the rhythms of growth and healing. It is a love that waits in the wings, ever present yet respectful of the inner journey taking place. It knows that before it can fully bloom, there must be space created within, a readiness that comes from embracing one's own truth, from letting go of what no longer serves, and from opening to the possibility of connection without fear or hesitation. This love is a gentle promise, a sacred assurance that what is meant for the heart will come, not too soon, not too late, but exactly when the soul is prepared to receive it. In this waiting, there is no rush, only a deep trust that the timing is perfect. The peace that arrives with this love carries with it a quiet strength, a knowing that every step of the journey has led to this moment of arrival. And when it comes, it will feel like a homecoming, a meeting of hearts that celebrates the fullness of who you are, inviting a new chapter filled with grace, warmth, and enduring connection. Until then, rest in the truth that your loneliness is not a punishment. It's a passage, and your soul knows the way home. Thank you from the depths of my heart for sharing this sacred space with me and appreciating the energy of this message. Your presence here is a gift, a gentle reminder that we are all connected through the invisible threads of spirit and intention. If this journey has touched your soul, I invite you to honor it by liking this video, a small but powerful way to nurture the light within yourself and support this collective awakening. Subscribing to the channel means you are choosing to walk this path of inner growth and spiritual discovery alongside a community that holds space for healing and transformation. As we close this moment together, I encourage you to plant the seed of empowerment by writing the mantra, "I am whole in my aloneness," in the comments below. This sacred affirmation is a beacon, reminding us that solitude is not isolation but a profound sanctuary where our true essence is nurtured and embraced. Let these words be your steady anchor through moments of quiet, a source of strength and peace that you can return to whenever life calls you inward. If this message resonates deeply within you, please consider sharing it with those who may also be seeking solace and empowerment in their own solitude. By passing this light forward, we weave a tapestry of support and understanding that stretches beyond the screen, touching hearts and awakening spirits across the world. Thank you again for your openness and trust. May your journey continue to unfold with grace, wisdom, and boundless peace.